Hello friends and potential friends. One of my friends out there has mentioned a couple of times over the last few years that he can't seem to get rosemary to grow. And so I've been thinking about it, trying to figure out just what my secret is to growing rosemary. And quite frankly, I don't know what the secret is. I started this patch from 5 cuttings that a co-worker brought me about 4 or 5 years ago. I brought them home, stuck them in the dirt, they rooted, they grew, and I've been taking cuttings off of them ever since, rooting the cuttings, and you see the result. I'm loaded with it. But in hopes that I might be able to help my friend out, I figured I'd just go through the whole process and try to tell everything that I do when I'm growing it. Hopefully somewhere in here the secret will be revealed, and I probably won't recognize it when it is, so I hope this can help somebody. When I start off, I take the tallest branches and I just cut them off about 6 to 8 inches long. And I'll take a few cuttings here and there. When I get finished with the cuttings, I usually can't even tell where I took the cuttings at. This stuff just keeps growing and growing. I don't make any special effort to cut it at an angle or anything like that. Basically, I just snip them off. And once I get a handful, I'll take them into the lab and we'll do the next step. Okay, we're in the lab now, and I've got a dozen yogurt cups filled up with soil. The soil is really nothing special. Sometimes I use the Miracle Grow moisture control soil. I'll admit to that. Makes things easy. I know it's probably not organic, but I'm not going to worry about that. Other times I mix my own soil, and I've had success both ways. The next step for me in this process is to moisten the soil in the yogurt cups. Now, it's not going to get completely soaked in here, but it'll get enough water in there to work with. And there'll be a little bit more down around the bottom that'll soak up from the bottom. And just like when I'm cooking, I usually make a mess when I'm doing this. And I'll make sure there's a little bit in the bottom of these trays. So basically I'll be watering these from the bottom. I don't want to get them too wet on the top, and I don't want to take a chance of bumping the cuttings. And I take a pencil and just stick a hole in each of these. I usually go all the way down to the bottom of the cup with the hole. And then I just take one of my cuttings. I'll strip off all the leaves for about 2 or 3 inches. What I strip off will wind up in the house where I can use it for my cooking. Now, sometimes I use rooting hormones, sometimes I don't. I've had good results either way. But this time I'm going to go ahead and use the rooting hormone. You can use whatever you want, or you can skip it completely. That batch back there, I just stripped the leaves off, stuck them in the ground. But this time I'm going to dip them in a little bit of water. Try to soak up a little bit of the rooting hormone. And then stick them in the hole that I made in the cup. Now here I'm trying real carefully to make sure I pack the soil right up around the cutting. And we'll do that for each one. And get them in the soil. Now, you don't have to sit and watch me put every one of these into the soil, but let me go ahead and get the rest of them put in and we'll go from there. And there we have it, another dozen rosemary cuttings planted in yogurt cups and ready to start rooting. Now, like I mentioned, I water these from the bottom because I don't want to take a chance of brushing against the cuttings. Once they're in there, say they've been in there for a few days and they're starting to root a little bit, if you happen to come along and bump them, they will twist in the soil and quite possibly break some of the roots loose. I think that's how I've lost a few of the cuttings that I've grown this way, but for the most part I tend to be successful at it. So I just water them from the bottom. Be real careful not to hit the plants themselves. They'll stay in here for, and I'll watch them close for about 2 weeks. Any of them that start turning brown, I'll just take them out and discard them. But for the most part, I seem to be successful at this. And that really is about all there is to it. I water them twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, just to make sure they stay good and moist. As you can see from these guys here, these have been in here for a few weeks now, and that soil is pretty wet. You can see some water dripping out from the bottom of the yogurt cup. And it seems to me that that's what they seem to like. Those ones, incidentally, I'll probably be hardening off and planting outside in the next week or so, because I'm starting to fill things up in here a little bit. And I got seeds I got to get planted. But I hope that somewhere in here, whatever secret I have for growing these things has been revealed. Now, I've never grown rosemary from seeds, though I did send a pack of seeds up to a friend in Canada a couple years ago, and she was able to get them to grow. So I know it can be done, but I tend to just go from cuttings. I go from cuttings on a lot of different things. And incidentally, with some of the plants that I grow from cuttings, if I want to try to help keep the humidity up a little bit better, I'll put them underneath this 10-gallon aquarium. That keeps the moisture inside the aquarium. I've got a 4-foot shop light that I drop down over top of that thing. And that's what I do with a lot of cuttings, but I found that's not really necessary with the rosemary. So I just keep them out here in the main part of the grow room, keep a close eye on them, and I can't stress enough, you do not want to be brushing against these things while they're trying to root. So those roots will be really delicate early on, and you don't want to take a chance of breaking them off. And now I've got another plate of rosemary I need to take in the house and get drying out a little bit for my cooking. I don't know what I'm going to do with all this rosemary. I sure do love the smell of it, so I keep growing it, and I hope this helps somebody out. One thing that might be part of my secret is in here in the lab, I've got a pretty good set of grow lights. That one on the left is 1,000 watt, and the one on the right is a 2,000 watt. Those lights stay on for 18 hours a day, and so everything that I grow over here gets 18 hours of pretty good bright light. And that, who knows, that might be a big part of the secret. I'm not sure. The humidity in here stays at around, anywhere from 60 to 85%. Right now it's at 74%, right up there. And the temperature stays between 75 and about 82 to 85 in here, because that air conditioner up there keeps running almost constantly. Got it shut off right now because it also makes a lot of noise. But anyway, let me see if I can put this together. Hopefully y'all will get some of the secrets I've got going in here. I didn't recognize what the secret was, but maybe some of you will. And I'm gonna eat me a little bit of breakfast. So I'll see you next time.